You get this really great product idea, right? You spend weeks, I mean literal weeks, designing a logo, taking gorgeous photos of your inventory.
Oh yeah, the fun part.
Exactly the fun part. And then you finally sit down at your computer, you're ready to conquer the digital world, and bam, you hit a massive wall.
Wix or Shopify.
Wix or Shopify. It is the great fork in the road of modern commerce, honestly. Because if you make the wrong choice today, you might find yourself, I don't know, ripping down your entire digital storefront to rebuild it from scratch in like 18 months.
And it's a decision that just paralyzes so many business owners. Because on the surface, I mean, they really look like they selling you the exact same dream.
Right. Build a site, sell your stuff, grow your business.
Yeah, exactly. But underneath the hood, the architecture is fundamentally, I mean, entirely, totally different.
So today we're dissecting a massive 2026 data poll that pits these two platforms head to head.
Which is great because there's so much marketing spin out there.
Oh, for sure. And our mission for this deep dive is not to just, read you a spec sheet or list off features. We are really here to rescue you from decision fatigue.
Cut right through the noise.
Right. We're going to uncover the specific breakpoints where one platform structurally outperforms the other, and we want to tailor this to exactly where your business sits right now.
Which is incredibly necessary, I think, because most advice out there just refuses to commit. Like people love to say, well, it depends on what you need.
Oh, I hate that. It's so unhelpful.
Right. It really is. But looking at this financial model and the feature analysis, it gives us definitive mathematical answers based on your actual revenue and your operational goals.
Okay, so let's unpack this. But before we get into the weeds of pricing tiers and transaction fees, we really need to understand what these two tools actually are.
Right, their origin stories, basically, because those stories dictate all their limitations today.
Yeah, both of these platforms launched back in 2006, but their core DNA couldn't be more opposed.
Well, yeah, back in 2006, Wix launched purely as a drag-and-drop website builder. The focus was entirely on visual design.
Just making things look pretty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Allowing anyone to make a beautiful Flash-based and eventually HTML5 website without knowing a single line of code. Commerce was totally an afterthought.
Just bolted on later.
Right. It was only much later that they bolted on a commerce module, which became Wix stores.
Whereas Shopify launched specifically as e-commerce software from day one. I mean, every single product decision they have made since 2006 is built around the merchant's workflow.
How they handle databases, checkout flows, point of sale, all of it.
Yeah, it functions way less like a website builder and more like a business's central operating system. I think Shopify's president actually called it that.
And what's fascinating here is that structural difference. It completely dictates how they handle limitations.
Like when you hit a wall.
Exactly. The data highlights this golden rule. When you hit a functional limit on Shopify, say, you suddenly need to offer a complex subscription box or specialized regional shipping. The workaround is almost always just installing an app or a backend function.
So the ecosystem lets you pivot.
Right. But when you hit a limit on Wix, because of how it was fundamentally built as a visual tool first, the workaround is very often just this agonizing realization that you have to switch platforms entirely.
Oh, wow. I always picture it like this. Wix is, it's an artist's gorgeous sunlit studio. You have total freedom to arrange the furniture, paint. The walls make it look incredible.
Right, an aesthetic paradise.
Yeah, and then one day you decide to set up a small folding table in the corner to sell some of your prints.
What?
But Shopify is a high-traffic retail storefront in a massive mall.
Built for volume.
Exactly. It is designed from the floor up with cash registers loading docks and inventory racks to move product. And eventually management says, okay, you can paint the walls and make it look pretty.
That is a perfect analogy. And that structural difference is exactly what dictates the ceiling of your business. It's not some philosophical debate, right? It creates a very real operational boundary as you grow.
So if Wix requires you to essentially rip out the plumbing and start over when you hit that ceiling, the natural assumption is, well, people only choose it because it's drastically cheaper to get started.
Right, the budget option myth.
But looking at the financial breakdowns in this data poll, that budget reputation is really largely an illusion once you hit a certain point, right?
The prevailing myth is definitely that Wix is always cheaper. But the numbers show Wix is generally only cheaper if your revenue is below roughly $50,000 a year.
Wait, hold on, below 50,000. I mean, in the e-commerce world, that's practically a hobby business or like a weekend side hustle.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's look at the 12-month true cost model from the analysis. This is for a business doing $150,000 in annual gross merchandise value, or GMV.
Okay, so 150K.
Right. When you pair Wix's core plan against Shopify's basic plan, factor in a typical $60 a month app stack, and add the credit card processing fees, the costs are virtually identical.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking around $6,318 a year for either platform.
Wait, how can a platform with a cheaper monthly subscription cost the exact same amount at the end of the year? Walk me through that math.
It all comes down to the credit card processing fees.
Yeah.
At $150,000 in revenue, the monthly subscription fee difference between the two platforms is totally negligible.
Because the swipe fees catch up to you.
Exactly. The percentage you pay every time someone swipes a credit card starts to completely dwarf your software costs.
And that leads to the massive revelation in the data, the crossover point. There is an exact mathematical threshold here,
So it's
right?
like $258,000 in annual GMV.
So what happens when a merchant hits that specific number? 258K?
That is the revenue line, where Shopify's Grow plan becomes mathematically cheaper than Wix's equivalent business plan in absolute dollars.
Because of the processing rate again.
Right. Shopify Grow drops your rate to 2.7%. Wix stays at 2.9%.
Okay, I have to push back here for a second. A 0.2% difference. That sounds like absolute pennies. You're telling me a tiny fraction of a percent wipes out an entire monthly subscription fee advantage.
It really does. Because when you are doing volume, those fractions of a percent equal thousands of dollars. At $258,000, that slight 0.2% edge completely erases any upfront advantage Wix had.
Wow.
And the gap just accelerates as you scale. By the time your store hits $1 million in GMV, Shopify is actually saving you nearly $1,500 a year compared to Wix, purely on the efficiency of those transaction rates.
But wait, there is a massive trap hiding in this math, though. I saw this in the payment gateway section of the source.
The penalty fees.
Yeah, Shopify looks great on paper with those lower rates, but they penalize you heavily if you refuse to use their native payment system rate. Shopify payments.
Yeah, they do.
So what if, what if I have an existing relationship with a local bank or a regional processor that gives me a really great rate?
Well, if you use a third-party gateway instead of Shopify payments, Shopify charges a penalty fee ranging from 0.6% all the way up to 2.2% per transaction.
Wow.
Yeah, it depends on your plan tier, but that will instantly wipe out any savings you negotiated with your local bank.
2% on top of what my own processor is charging me. I mean, that is a brutal walled garden.
It's a deliberate ecosystem play. You have to run the math on your specific region, especially since Shopify payments isn't available in every single country.
Right, right.
However, there's a massive operational reason why you want to use Shopify payments anyway. It waives that penalty fee, yes. But more importantly, it unlocks Shop Pay.
Okay. Shop Pay is their accelerated checkout button, right? The little purple one.
Yes, the purple button.
Oh.
And the internal data shows Shop Pay converts up to 50% better than a standard guest checkout.
50% is a staggering number in e-commerce. What is actually happening under the hood to make people complete their purchase that much faster?
Well, it works because of Shopify's massive global network. If a customer has ever bought a product from any other Shopify store using Shop Pay, their credit card shipping address and email are encrypted and saved on Shopify servers.
Oh, so it remembers them across the whole internet.
Exactly. When they land on your totally independent website, Shopify recognizes their device or their email, send a quick text code, and they check out in one single click.
That's crazy.
They don't have to hunt for their wallet or type in their zip code on a tiny mobile keyboard. And the hardest thing in retail is getting someone to actually hand over their money.
Right, reducing that friction.
Yeah, a one-click checkout makes the platform fee debate almost irrelevant because you are capturing sales that would have otherwise just abandoned their cart.
Okay, so let's assume you've crossed that $258,000 threshold. The math leans toward Shopify. But what is structurally breaking on the back end of a Wix site when a business starts doing real volume?
It's not just about credit card fees, no. The infrastructure required to support high volume is totally different. We really have to look at the app ecosystem.
Right, the apps.
The gap here is staggering. The Shopify App Store has over 17,000 apps. The Wix app market has about 300 in the e-commerce category.
17,000 versus 300, that's not even a competition.
And it's not just the sheer number, it's the depth of the software.
Yeah.
Wix is missing critical infrastructure integrations. Things like deep ERP connectors or headless storefront architecture.
Whoa, stop right there. Headless storefront architecture, ERP connectors. I mean, that sounds like enterprise IT gibberish.
It does sound like jargon, yeah.
If I am selling, custom leather bags out of my garage or doing like $300K a year in ceramics, Why do I care about headless architecture? Break that down for me.
Fair enough. Let's demystify it. Headless just means decoupling the head, which is your customer-facing website, from the body, which is the back-end inventory and cart system.
Okay, so separating the front end from the back end.
Exactly. As you grow, you might want a completely custom-coded website that moves like a video game, or you might want to sell through a smart billboard or a proprietary mobile app.
A smart billboard, okay.
Yeah, Shopify allows its back-end to power those custom experiences invisibly. Wix generally requires you to use their website front-end.
Got it. And what about the ERP thing?
Right, an ERP, an enterprise resource planning tool like NetSuite, is just central nervous system software for big companies to track their global accounting and warehouse inventory all in one place.
Okay, so maybe I don't need a smart billboard today. But what does this lack of deep integration mean for me on a random Tuesday afternoon when I'm just trying to fulfill orders?
It creates what the analysis frames as the hidden ops cost.
The ops tab.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday afternoon on Wix, if you don't have these robust integrations, you are doing manual labor.
Like what kind of manual labor?
You are manually filing sales tax for different states because the automated options are limited. You are tracking multi-location inventory, figuring out if you have 3 red shirts in your garage and 2 at your weekend pop-up shop by updating a separate Excel spreadsheet.
Ugh, spreadsheets.
Right. You are taking boxes to the post office and paying retail shipping rates.
That sounds like a nightmare for a single operator, honestly.
It is a massive time sink. The data suggests this manual work can cost a merchant 5 to 10 hours a month.
Wow.
Shopify, on the other hand, includes multi-location inventory natively. It has Shopify tax built in to automate regional tax liabilities. It includes Shopify shipping with negotiated carrier discounts up to 88% off.
So it's basically doing the busy work for you.
Yes, because your time is your most expensive asset. Shopify automates the baseline operational tasks so you can utilize tools like Shopify Flow for visual automation or deep integrations with email platforms like Klaviyo to really focus on retaining customers.
It's the classic difference between working in your business, manually updating spreadsheets, versus working on your business technologically, designing new marketing campaigns and sourcing new products. On Wix, you pay a time tax.
And Shopify hands that time back to you.
Okay, this is starting to sound like a landslide victory for Shopify. We need to pump the brakes a bit and look at where Wix actually wins.
Though for sure.
Because there are completely valid reasons a smart business owner might purposely choose Wix.
There absolutely are. And it comes right back to your analogy about the artist studio. Wix Studio is currently one of the most powerful visual editors on the market.
Really?
Oh yeah, it allows total unconstrained visual freedom. You can drag a text box, an image, or a high-definition video literally anywhere on the page and achieve pixel-pushing perfection without knowing how to write a single line of code.
Okay, whereas Shopify uses what they call Horizon Write, which is their flagship theme architecture.
Yes.
And that forces you into structured sections and settings. So if Wix is a blank canvas, Shopify is more like a coloring book. You have to stay within their predefined lines.
That's exactly it.
But if I have to stay in the lines on Shopify, what is the technical payoff? Why are those lines even there?
The rigidity of the coloring book is exactly what makes the platform unbreakable under pressure. Because the layout is standardized, Shopify servers can cache those pages globally and load them in milliseconds.
Speed.
Exactly. The performance data highlights how Shopify routinely passes Google's Core Web Vitals at scale.
And Core Web Vitals is basically Google's test for how clunky a site feels to a user, right?
Exactly. One of those metrics is called Largest Contentful Paint, or LCP, which measures how long it takes for the biggest image or text block to render.
Okay.
Because Wix lets you drag a massive unoptimized video anywhere on the screen. Your browser has to work twice as hard to render it, which can just tank your load speed.
But people just click away if it takes too long.
Right. Shopify's themes are heavily engineered by commerce experts to load instantly. During peak load times like Black Friday, Shopify handles millions of orders a minute without crashing.
That's wild. And there's another technical bottleneck mentioned in the data, right? Catalog limits. Shopify allows unlimited products on every plan. So what happens on Wix when you start adding tons of inventory?
Wix hard caps your catalog at 50,000 items. And that is even on the most expensive Business Elite tier.
50,000. I mean, that does sound like a lot, though.
It does, but the critical detail is that the back end actually starts noticeably slowing down once you pass about 5,000 SKUs or individual product variants.
Wait, slows down at 5,000? That doesn't seem like a massive number for, say, a clothing retailer with a bunch of sizes and colors.
No, it's not. It comes down to relational databases.
Yeah.
Wix's core architecture just wasn't built to constantly query massive complex matrices of variants.
Like a shirt that comes in 5 sizes, 6 colors, and 3 materials.
Exactly, each with its own inventory count. Shopify was built on a framework called Ruby on Rails, specifically to handle those complex relational databases instantly.
Wow, okay. But let's talk about content strategy for a second, because I've heard for years that Wix is just terrible for SEO. Like, if you want to rank on Google, you avoid website builders.
Yeah, we can finally put that myth to rest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the analysis is very clear that old SEO myth has been dead for years. Wix sites index and rank perfectly fine on Google now.
Okay, that's good to know.
In fact, if you are a content-led brand, maybe you're a lifestyle blogger, an influencer, or a consultant, and you only have a small product line of, say, 5 or 10 items, Wix is genuinely a better fit.
How so? How does Wix outperform Shopify for a content creator?
The Wix blog is visually much more flexible and robust out of the box than Shopify's native blogging engine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it features built-in author profiles, superior layout control, and deep categorization. For a content-first strategy where the articles drive the traffic, it's really a joy to use. Where Shopify wins on SEO is technical control for massive sites.
Technical control like what? The source mentioned bulk 301 redirects via CSV, which is just another heavy dose of alphabet soup.
It is.
Yeah.
A 301 redirect is just telling Google that a web page has moved permanently to a new address.
Okay, simple enough.
Right. So if you have a huge store and you overhaul your product categories, you might need to change hundreds of web links. Shopify lets you upload a single spreadsheet, a CSV file, to seamlessly map all those old links to the new ones simultaneously, so you don't lose any of your hard-earned Google search ranking.
Oh, that is super handy.
Yeah. Wix handles URLs differently. Your product links are locked under a specific prefix, making it harder to have a perfectly flat, clean URL structure. But honestly, for a site with 10 products, you will literally never notice that limitation.
Right, you're not managing hundreds of links.
Exactly.
So let's bring this all together. You are listening to this, you are looking at your business plan, and you're ready to build. Which archetype are you? Based on everything in this data pool, if you have a small catalog, maybe under 100 items, and you don't foresee needing massive inventory complexity, if you prioritize absolute visual design freedom over back-end commerce automation, and if you view e-commerce as basically a complementary side hustle to your main content or service business, well, then Wix is your champion.
Yeah, it will likely be cheaper in your first year.
Yeah.
It will be faster to design exactly the way you envision it, and it is perfectly capable of handling normal, everyday sales volume.
But if e-commerce is your primary business model, if you expect to cross that 50,000 a year mark quickly and scale toward that 258,000 crossover point, if you plan to sell in person and need a robust point of sale system, or you need wholesale features to sell to other businesses, then Shopify is the definitive answer.
That is the reality the data points to, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a massive warning light flashing in the migration section of this analysis that we absolutely cannot ignore.
Oh, what is it?
Well, human nature is to say, well, I'll just start on Wix because I like the visual editor and it's slightly cheaper today, and I'll just move my site to Shopify when I get big.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds incredibly logical, right? Start small, upgrade later.
It sounds logical, but moving platforms is a complete digital nightmare.
Really?
Oh, yeah. When you migrate, CSV spreadsheet files can only really transfer your basic product titles and your customer email list. Everything else burns to the ground.
Wait, everything else?
Yes. Your beautiful custom theme code is destroyed. Your app data and reviews, gone. Your customers' historical order data and their saved account passwords, erased. You are effectively burning down your storefront and rebuilding the foundation while trying to keep the cash register open.
Wow, so the cost of switching later is way higher than just starting on the right platform today.
Exponentially higher.
Okay, well, before we wrap up here is one final thought to mull over that actually goes beyond today's feature lists. As we step further into the age of artificial intelligence, consider how these foundational architectures will adapt.
Oh, that's an interesting angle.
Right. If Shopify is already structured as a rigid operating system with clean databases and APIs, it is perfectly primed for future AI agents to just plug in and eventually run your inventory, order fulfillment, and ad buying autonomously.
Just completely hands-free.
Exactly. Wix might let you design a beautiful website using AI prompts, but can its backend really support an AI running the logistics of a complex business? Think deeply about what kind of platform you want your future automated tools to plug into.
Because the architecture you choose today completely dictates the leverage you will have tomorrow.
Absolutely. We highly encourage you to grab a free trial for both platforms. Take your top 5 products and just try building a mini store in each. Go through the process of adding a product, setting up a shipping zone, and designing a homepage.
See which ecosystem truly feels like home.
Exactly, whether it's the artist studio or the retail powerhouse, because you really don't want to find yourself staring down the barrel of an agonizing 18-month rebuild when you should be popping champagne to celebrate your growth. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.